Hello, this is Barbara. Welcome to Around the WNBA. We had a wonderful game this evening. Indiana Fever versus the Dallas Wings. What was good about it? It was a battle. Both teams worked real hard. Both teams produced. Both teams were there on a mission. Both teams didn't disappoint. Let me tell you my take on the game. What went right? First off, they started Ari McDonald as a point guard. Best decision they could have made. She set the pace for fast paced play. Fast paced play. And it was wonderful. What does that tell me? Right off the top, they learned from their last game. They learned from the last loss. Check it out. There's more. And how the roster was rotated was also spot on. So the coaching staff learned from their mistake last game. Yes, the coaching staff can learn too. And it proved to be spot on. What else? There's more. They were playing with consistency, not perfectly, but it was evident. They played with aggressiveness, not like majorly, but it was enough so we could see it. And the points told the story. They were playing with greater defense. In that first quarter, I tell you what, they were just spot on with their defense. You couldn't go that way, you couldn't go that way, you couldn't go anywhere without a defender being in your face. That was good defense. That was spot on. And then they had good offense. They weren't as hesitant shooting the ball. They got the ball in the hoop. They got the buckets. And Kelsey Mitchell went off. She was driving into the paint and scoring. She was hitting those 3-pointers from the perimeter. She was balling. There wasn't much hesitancy that I can see on her part, as it has been in some other last games. Put it this way, she was not soft at all in this game. Then you had Boston, who was again spot on, doing her thing. And with Ari as point guard, that left everybody else to do their positions, to do what they were responsible for. Didn't have to worry about what the point guard worries about or thinks about. They were about their own mission, and their mission was accomplished. Yes, were there turnovers? Yes. Was there sometimes a little bit of lack of communication? Yes. So was it perfect? No. But no game is perfect. Was it better than the last game? Absolutely. But not only because they got the dub, it was better because they listened to the feedback they got. They looked at the tape and saw how they looked. They studied something. They had a conversation with each other about what took place. And guess what? They got the dub. And this is what happens. All right? But there's one other thing I want to say before we go into the stats. And that's this. Caitlin Clark was on the bench because of a groin injury. We don't know if it was an extension of what happened with her thigh and that injury. I don't know. I hope that they pay attention to her and not let her come back until she's absolutely healed and ready, both physically and mentally. My hope is that they will safeguard her. And then when she comes back, she'll be able to play and not have to be concerned about re injury. That's my hope. But what I want to say is this dub tells the team, tells the Indiana Fever players and the coaching staff, it tells them that they can win a game without Caitlin Clark being on the court. Meaning, without her playing actively in the game, they can win. They can win. That's important for the team to know that CC is an asset, of course. But now that they have Eri there, they don't got to be concerned and confused trying to take on her responsibilities or trying to take on point guard responsibilities when that's not their job. They can't do that well. But Eri can. And where CC, is and where Eri is, yeah, they're two different types of point guards. But Eri is effective and she's also good on defense. And she's also good at getting buckets. She can be aggressive. And I don't care how tall the person was. Tonight, she didn't care how tall the people were. She was guarding people and was being effective. Was she not? Right? So I'm excited about where the team goes from this position because now it's about the practice of continuing to do what you've learned that is effective so that you can get more dubs. Taking each game one game at a time, one opponent at a time, one battle at a time. Right? But they were great. It was great to see them as a team working together and having communication, having some consistency, right? That's going to boost their morale. That's going to boost their confidence. And it also tells CC that this team means business. It's not only about me, it's about this team meaning business. And us together can do what we need to do. So there's a learning that's taking place throughout this whole time of transition. There's a learning taking place that I think is important for the team as a whole. And like I said before, every being there as a point guard is also a challenge to Caitlin, which Caitlin needs to have. Once she's better, it's going to be that competitive mode that she loves and also Eri loves, that will push them further to their excellence. I'm so looking forward to seeing that. And I like Eri's attitude. I like her cheerfulness. It's wonderful. Now, Howard did wonderfully this evening as well. She was much more aggressive than she has been. Still somewhat slow on the court, but she picked up a little speed this evening. I saw a little speed take place with her. So she's got to just get into the rhythm of where these people are on the team and move with them and be with them as a team. And she's considered to be one of the bigs because of her being a vet, because she's, tall in stature, and so she's got to be able to understand what that means. And her and Boston got to move and got to do their thing. And when they do, good things happen. Good things happen. We saw Timpson in for a lot longer minutes. And what I saw with Timpson is that, she got a couple of buckets, wonderful thing, but she needs more time to experience being in the WNBA. She needs more time experiencing what it's like to be a part of this kind of caliber of team, I think. And I think once that happens, I think that she's going to be even better than what she was in college. And I think that this might be the reason why the coaching staff didn't put her in as often, because she hasn't been producing probably in the practices. If she goes to practice and does in practice like she did in tonight's game, I totally understand it. Okay, I totally understand it now. However, how do you get better? More practice. more experience. That's how it happens. So what we have here is, hopefully she'll get more minutes as it goes along. Hopefully it'll be, better for Timpson as she, gets more time on the court, and we'll see. Turner didn't play, and that was a coaching decision. I'm not sure why or what was up with that, but it was a coaching decision. That happens. But Lexi Hull, I mean, she was spot on. The only thing with Lexi, she's got to stop fouling the other people, her opponents. She's got to stop doing that. Learn how to guard them and learn how to be as active as she is without, getting called for a foul. And of course, Cunningham was spot on for the most part. She did her activity, she did her production on the court. So all in all, it was a good game, and I think Dallas was great as well because they scored despite the defense that the Fever was putting up. Dallas still scored, and that's a testament to how good that team is, right? And the Fever actually held Arike for a moment in that first half, so that she didn't score, very many points at all. And they held Becker's back a little bit. All right. It wasn't until actually after the second half is when they got a little bit more aggressive. And we know that when you go into that halftime and you're meeting with your coach, they're going to put a fire underneath you. And it's going to be up to the team to put that to practice out on the court what was said in the halftime in the locker room. Whether they do that or not, it's up to the team. But if they take heed to what the coaching is saying and what their teammates are saying, they should come out after halftime that much more aggressive, that much more having grit, that much more being communicative, that much more being consistent. Because then they can move all the way through and play a good fourth quarter. And that's what I believe happened with the Indiana Fever. In the third, it was getting kind of iffy there. Their defense wasn't like it was in the first two quarters. I was like, okay, what's going on here, And then it was in the fourth when they started getting back to themselves and understood what they had to do. And even though Dallas was getting buckets, they were getting buckets too, and they didn't give up. If they were tired, you couldn't really see that because they were still on it. So all in all, this game was a good win for the Indiana Fever. In terms of a game report card, if I could give them a score, it would probably be a B+, all in all. And I would give actually Dallas probably a B because, they were doing the best they could. All right. Let's move on to the scoring. The box scores, we have Indiana. This is the first quarter. Indiana was 33-13, and that was the first quarter. So they came out ready for that first quarter. Second quarter was 23-30. So again, they kind of eased up a little bit on their defense. We can tell by the scoring. Then the third quarter, again, 18-26. This is when I got a little concerned because they weren't doing some of the same things that they could have done, that they did in the first half. And then in the fourth, it was 2017. So that's when the Indiana Fever really, just put in all their effort that they had to muster to continue to make points, to continue to drive, to continue to, run the court. And so the score ended up being 94 Indiana and 86 Dallas Wings. Howard made 15 points. Boston made 21 points. Mitchell made 32 points. Yes, she did. And let's see. McDonald made 13 points. And Hull made 3 points. From the bench, Timpson made 3 points. Colson made 2. And Cunningham made 5. As far as 3-pointers, we have Kelsey made 4 out of 6. Hull made 1 out of 3. And Sophie made 1 out of 2. That's good. Now for the Dallas Wings. Smith had 7 points. Yuru had 7 points. Arike had 15 points. Charles had 2. And Beckers had 27. So Paige Beckers had a good game. She had a good game. And then we have Hines Allen had 9 points. And James had 14. And Quinterly had 5. As far as 3-pointers, Yuru had 1 of 2. Arike had 1 of 4. Beckers had 2 of 3. Allen had 1 of 4. James had 1 of 3. That's good. And as far as turnovers, Dallas had 8 and the Fever had 11. Now they are scheduled to meet with them at least 4 more times. The next one will be July 13th, and then it will be August 1st, and then August 12th. Tonight's game, there was 20,000 people, 20,409 people in attendance. Big time. As far as fast break points, we have the Indiana Fever with 12 fast break points, and Dallas had 5. The Indiana Fever had 48 points in the paint, and Dallas had 42. As far as fouls are concerned, there was 23 for Indiana and 21 for Dallas. Now, let me just say this. Indiana had the largest lead of 23. Now, that is interesting. They needed to have safeguarded that lead a lot more. A lot more. They let Dallas catch up to them too quickly. They needed to safeguard that lead. All that said, I think that the game was good. They really let us see them play and really came, to do battle with the Wings. And that was good to see. That was really good to see. So let me know what your thoughts are on the game. What did you see about the game that was interesting, that was different? Did you see their aggressiveness? Did you see their consistency? Did you see their communication and get better throughout the whole game? Just let me know what your thoughts are on the game. And always, I suggest that if you haven't already decided to subscribe to my channel, what better time than the present? So feel free to subscribe to my channel and also to give me a thumbs up because that's very, very helpful. And don't forget to tap the bell because when you do that, you'll be notified when there's new content. All right, so all that said, go Fever. Go Fever. My name is Barbara, around the WNBA. Until next time, peace.